The first farmers and herders. The Neolithic Age, New Stone Age, 8000 to 4000 BC. About 10,000 years ago, man progressed to the Neolithic Age or the New Stone Age. Man's life changed in this period due to some major achievements like the beginning of agriculture, the invention of the wheel, and the making of pottery. The first step in man's advancement in the Neolithic age was that man had learned from his experience and started making a variety of stone tools like axes, sickles, spears, bows, and arrows. These tools were much sharper and better polished. Such tools have been found in the Neolithic sites of Indian subcontinent at Burzahom and Gufkral in Jammu and Kashmir, Chirand in Bihar, Mehergarh in the present-day Balochistan, and Daujali Heding in Assam. Tools. Tools of stone, bone, and deer antler were widely used in the Neolithic period. Now, the tools were given a proper shape. These tools were sharper, and some of these were also polished and had wooden handles. Hooks, arrowheads, awls, spatulas, and needles were essential tools used for fishing, hunting, leatherworking, basketry, weaving, and pottery. Beginning of agriculture. Food. At this time, man was not totally dependent on nature for food. He had learned the process of growing food. It was not necessary for him to lead a nomadic life going from place to place searching for food. We do not know how the Neolithic man began to cultivate plants. He would have observed some discarded seeds growing into plants. This was his major achievement. The major crops grown by man during this period were rice, wheat, and barley. Some crops were grown in particular areas and other crops in other areas. The person who first made this observation was perhaps the world's first scientist. The knowledge of food production completely transformed the life of early man, and this change has been called the Neolithic Revolution. As man transformed into a food producer from a food gatherer, he started leading a more settled life. Now, the Neolithic man became a farmer. He could now grow rice, wheat, and barley. At the same time, he began to domesticate animals such as sheep, goats, and cattle. These animals ate grass and lived in herds. Dog was probably the first animal to be domesticated. Animals that were reared could be used as store of food also. Since man provided food and security to these herds, he came to be known as herder. Now, he did not have to wander from place to place in search of food. This is how the world's first village and village life must have developed. The farmers and herders lived in groups called tribes. A tribe is a group of families related to each other and living together in small settlements or villages. Usually, men led large herds of cattle in search of fresh pastures, and women did most of the agricultural work. Both men and women took part in singing, dancing, painting, and decorating houses. Now, man was assured of a regular food supply. his life became much more secure. But we should never forget that man's development has been a slow and gradual process. In many areas, men and women continued to be hunters and food gatherers. In other places, they gradually took to agriculture and domestication of animals. Often, all these activities were combined. Community life. Man started building mud houses close together. These groups of houses slowly took the form of villages. Many of these came up along the river banks as rivers provided water and easy transportation. The land around them was also fertile. Now, the Neolithic man lived in a more organized and settled community. Still, there was no concept of private ownership of land. The groups lived in harmony and practiced social equality. Most probably, the eldest or the strongest member of the group was made the leader who was supposed to coordinate all the activities of the group. At Bursa home in Kashmir, pit houses have been found dug into the ground with steps leading into them. Evidences show that these pits were dug using stone tools. Some material remains, such as pottery and cooking hearths, have been found in these pit houses. This shows that people lived in a community. Wheel. Invention of the wheel is regarded as the first technological revolution of mankind. Stones rolling down the mountain slopes or big logs of wood rolling down by applying physical force might have given early man the idea of making wheels. With this invention, traveling and transportation became easier. Increased mobility in the life of man encouraged better interaction and exchange of ideas between them. Pottery, the first step towards craftsmanship. As man became a food producer, he needed to store food. Man showed his creativity when he made solid and strong clay pottery by baking them on fire. When he learned to use the potter's wheel, as we call it today, he could make pots of different shapes and sizes. Thus, early man was gradually becoming an artist and a craftsman. Insight into religious beliefs. Now, the Neolithic man was not on constant move. He had leisure time to think about matters beyond his basic daily existence. Natural phenomena like lightning, thunder, earthquakes were frightening and seasonal changes were beyond his understanding. Being ignorant of their causes, he worshipped them. As he was dependent on nature, he worshipped the sun, moon, rain, thunder, lightning, etc. Death was another mystery for the Neolithic man. To understand this mystery, he developed a belief in life after death. Therefore, the Neolithic man started burying the dead along with the daily necessities of life, such as pottery, weapons, and food items. Thus, through such beliefs, the Neolithic man was taking his first step towards spiritual life. The Chalcolithic Age. 4000 BC to 2000 BC. The Chalcolithic age, chalkos means copper and lithos means stones, refers to the period of time when, along with stone, copper started to be used to make tools and weapons. Chalcolithic remains have been excavated in India in Chota Nagpur Plateau, Gangetic Basin, Mysore, and near Narmada River. As metals lasted longer, man realized their importance. Soon, he began experimenting with different alloys. He realized that if he mixed tin and zinc with copper, a much strong metal would be formed. This came to be known as bronze. Thereafter, most weapons, tools, and implements started to be made of bronze. A large number of settlements belonging to this age have also been found in other places. The Indus Valley Civilization, the Egyptian civilization, and even the Mesopotamian civilization too belong to this age. Soon, iron was used wherever possible, leading to the dawn of a more settled civilization.